Hello everybody, this is NmMindstorm and I'm going to be performing a quick Blender tutorial. This is going to end up in a series and the videos are going to slightly get a little bit more complex as they go on. So we're going to start off with the basics, and I hope you guys can follow along. You're probably wondering how I just rotated that cube right there, but do not worry, I will explain everything. So a few of my friends have asked me about animation and everything like that. And I decided to make a tutorial video to benefit not only them, but anyone else who really cares. So, you know, I've got my notes next to me, everything I want to cover in this video, everything that I feel is necessary, everything I could come up with. So we're just going to get down to the basics first of all. So to zoom in is your scroll wheel on your mouse. If you do not have a mouse with a scroll wheel, you can use the either the plus or minus keys or the up and down arrows on your keyboard. Since I have a scroll wheel, it won't let me use either of those shortcuts, so I can't recall it perfectly. However, I do remember at one point I did not have a mouse with a scroll wheel, so I couldn't do things like rotate. With a scroll wheel, all you have to do is hold down button 3 and move your mouse around. That will rotate your view of everything. And you can also pan by pressing Shift, middle mouse button, and moving your mouse. However, if you do not have a middle mouse button, panning is Shift, Alt, left click, move mouse. And if you do not have a middle mouse button, then rotating is Alt, left click, move your mouse. So, also there's front view, side view, how you can make it so that it's a perfect view, like from the front or the side, and have the computer put it in that view for you, so you know if it's exactly like that. If you have a number pad on your keyboard, you can just use number pad 1, 2, 3, or 4. Those shortcuts are already set for you. However, if you do not, you can use view. See, number pad, those are the shortcuts, but you can also change the shortcut. I'm going to make my front F1, let's say. Hold on. Oh, why didn't it work? Okay, there we go. Oh, that's the... Okay, yeah, that's the front. Okay, but first thing you want to do is make sure that you are in a not in a perspective view, in an orthographic view, because that is the first thing that we need to knock off our list right away in order to get started with this video. And you using Blender in the long run. So, you're probably also wondering how on this cube that I have here, I have those individual points and lines highlighted, where you probably have something like this. You probably have a gray figure with an orange highlight around it. So that means that you are in object mode. So to change it to what I just had it, which you will probably be editing it most in, is to go from object mode and to edit mode. But don't worry, you don't always have to move your mouse down here and click object mode, edit mode. You can simply click the tab key, a shortcut that is already set for you guys and for your Blender using enjoyment. So I'm going to be using that most of the time when it comes to that. Also, to select points, you use your right mouse button, you right click. To select, oops, I'll tell you how to do that in a second. To select multiple points on the cube, you shift right click. And say there is a loop of points and you don't feel like clicking all 4 or however many there are in the loop, you can click Alt right click. Now that only highlighted that edge because I guess it only counts that edge as a loop. Let's see, another thing, speaking of edges, all that great stuff, there are 3 buttons down here. There's vertices mode, which I'm in right now, where you highlight individual vertices, and there's edge mode, where you can highlight entire edges made up of 2 points, and there is faces mode, where you can highlight whole faces made up of 3, 4, or more points. But we're going to be doing most of our work here in vertices mode, so just bear with me when it comes to that. So we're going to go into front view first of all with this cube, and we're going to just make sure that we have it in a good position where we can see it. You'll stay in front view by zooming and panning, but you will not, of course, by rotating. So just make sure that you don't rotate it by accident. So we're going to add some loop cuts to this cube, and how we are going to do that is by hovering our pointer over the cube, over the mesh, and clicking on our keyboard, Control R, and then using our scroll wheel to adjust the number of loop cuts that it makes for us. So there's the standard one loop cut. Mine's a little laggy today, so I'm not gonna right away, I'm not gonna be able to do many loop cuts right off the bat. So, dang it. Okay, there's the standard single loop cut, and then there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, as many as you want to do until it just kind of looks like an infinite mess of purple. But we're going to use about, how many loop cuts do you guys want to use? It's still lagging for me. Yeah, it's infinite. I don't like that. Okay, do we ever, there, 1 loop cut, and you can adjust where it is by moving your mouse up and down. And then left clicking where you want it to go. So I'm going to put it like right here. But you don't just have to make a horizontal loop cut. You can also make vertical loop cuts, as you see I am doing right now. So we're going to put it like that. Woohoo! And let's see. Let's change our view to the right view and make another loop cut right here. This way we have a box on the top right corner of the cube, and what we're going to do with this point is drag it, and how we are going to do that is either by holding down the right mouse button over the point and moving our mouse around at the same time, or simply selecting the point and then letting go of the right click button and holding, and not holding, and pressing the G key and then moving our mouse around. I usually use G, but either one is effective. I feel like it's a little faster to use the G key. Another thing we should probably cover is to fill points. Let's say by pressing Control left click, let's say, first of all, let's deselect this point by pressing A to deselect all, or to select all points, of course. So let's say we have a random point over here, and we're going to make this point by pressing Control left click. So we have a point here, and now let's deselect it, and we have a point here, deselect, point here, deselect, and point here, deselect. Now we don't just want these to be 4 random points. We want them to be a face. So we're going to press the F key to fill them, and they have a nice face filling them. So that is nice, as I have just said. So let's go back into object mode with our cube here. So as you can see, I just undid a couple of times in object mode, and that got rid of everything that I did in edit mode. So just make sure that you're back with your standard cube here, and we're actually going to try and make something today. Okay, so let's go to our front view here and deselect all. Then we're going to make 1 loop cut and move it around the top. And once we have done that, we're going to select the top of the cube, go back into our front view, or actually no, change the view to the top, and then shrink that. That will leave us with a mesh that looks sort of like a house, but not really. Another interesting thing that you can do is, I just deselected all by pressing A, is pressing the Z key. That allows you to see entirely through your mesh. So say you want to select, say you're lazy, you don't want to rotate it, and you want to select a point that's over there from this side. Well, you can press the Z key to make it transparent and simply select that point. As you can see on the other side, that point is selected. It's kind of effective, especially when you want to knock out all the points and select a whole bunch of them, but say you don't just want to select the ones in the front right here. If you want to select multiple points in this corner of the cube, but not just the ones in the front, you can take the B key, which will bring 2 lines to the coordinates of your pointer, and then you can click and drag a box over those points. And when your box is transparent, it will not only select the points on the front, but the points on the back as well. So that is useful. I know it was probably a little bit confusing the way I worded it. Maybe it wasn't, maybe it was. I have a different mindset than you guys probably do right now, so just tell me how easy to follow this tutorial is down in the comments below. I would like to hear your feedback. It would be amazing. So anyway, let's continue. Let's go back into our front view. Let's do the same thing on the bottom. Let's add a loop cut, a horizontal loop cut. Let's put it down here. Let's change our view, this time to the bottom view. We're going to select the 4 points closest to us on the bottom of the cube. And just, to shrink, sorry, you probably were wondering how I did this on the top. To shrink the points, or to size them, because you can also make it larger, you press the S key. So, you might have been a little confused at that point, and I am deeply sorry. I am very familiar with Blender and all this stuff, so sometimes I just go ahead and you guys are probably a little confused at points. So I'm working on that. I'm trying to make this tutorial as user-friendly and easy to follow as possible, so I'm sorry for that. It won't happen in any more tutorials, and if it does, I will punch myself in the face. Not actually, I love my face. Okay, so let's see. We have our cube, and next thing that we are going to do is select, I believe it'll let us select a loop now, will it? Yeah, see, we pressed Alt, right click, and it selected the whole group of points here. They're going to press Shift Alt right click on the bottom loop. And look at that, it got that entire section. We're going to change to either our top or bottom view. Just make sure that we're along the Z axis in our view. So bottom, I'll say. And then we'll rotate by pressing R, those points right there, until the edges of the box in the center that we had highlighted are about matched up with the corner of the box on the bottom that we shrunk earlier. So that's to rotate. You select the points you want to rotate. You press R. You move your mouse around. To undo, you press Control Z. So now we have this decently interesting figure, I will say. It's not really turning into much, but that is okay. Now let's say we have our points. Let's go back to the front view. But first, select the very top. And actually, let's press delete, but do not select vertices. If you select vertices, then all of the points will be deleted, and it will end up looking like that. Nah, instead of pressing vertices or edges, you want to press only faces. That way, the face in between those points is gone. Once you've done that, you want to take these points, go back into front view, and press the E key to extrude outward from that mesh. And then if you want to lock your extrusion to a certain axis, so you want to lock it to the Z axis, no matter how far to the right or left you move your mouse, it'll only let you extrude your points up or down. So that is helpful in some cases. Next, let's see, what is next? What could I show you how to do? Ah, yes. What if we have these points now? Let's extrude it again, first of all, along the Z axis by pressing Z. And let's go back to our top view with those points still selected. Now let's change the size of them just a little bit. And let's shift select this entire loop around the top box as well. So we're just going to have all these selected if that was confusing for you to follow. Now let's go back to our top view and rotate that once more. And now we truly have a very interesting concept here. I do not personally know what it is turning into. Here we can go ahead, select the top 4 points, press the F key to fill. What do you guys want to do now? Okay, well, let's keep that. Let's go back into object mode though, and let's go to create. It says create for you. For me it says CR because I'm increasing the size of everything so you can read it. So for you it says create, and choose let's say UV sphere. Let's press the G key to move that sphere over here. Haha, I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. Now let's go into edit mode and front view on this sphere here. And as you can see, it does kind of look like a sphere, but it looks a little bit more like a disco ball. I mean, those are spheres, but they're made out of square faces, which is not the best. So we want this sphere to be a truly rounded, beautiful sphere. So first thing we're going to do is go to shading, and faces is going to be set to smooth. Now, it may look done, but you can see it still looks a little choppy in places. You see the shading, it's not necessarily the roundest thing in the world, and if you just look at it, you can still see kind of edges along the side of the sphere. So we can fix that even further. And to do that, well, actually, before we fix that even further, we're going to go back into our front view. In edit mode, by pressing Z, you're going to make your mesh transparent. Then by pressing the B key, we are going to do our best to select half of the cube sphere without selecting those middle lines there. So like that. And let's make sure that on both the top and the bottom that the points line up beautifully. Yes. And yes. Okay, so go back into your front view, and now you're going to delete those vertices, which will leave you with exactly half a sphere. We're going to press A to select all, and then G to move it a little bit into our view. If it's perfectly in your view, you don't have to worry about it too much. So now we're going to select those points again, and we're going to, right here on the sidebar, if you do not have this menu, you can get it by pressing Shift Space, I believe, but I'm not talking about this menu, I'm talking about this one right here. So you can scroll through, and until you find the wrench, which it may just show right to you because everything's enlarged on my screen, click on the wrench and choose Add Modifier. And then you are going to hover your mouse over the mirror modifier and of course click it. That's not in the exact place that we want it, which was not nice for me, but not saying that it won't do. Let me just look. Okay, yeah, it's as lined up as I could probably get it. Now you'll probably see that you were lazy and you made half of the object that you wanted to, and yeah, sure, the other half is there when you're animating it and it's in edit mode, but you know, you kind of want the points there. You kind of want to see the points and lines and faces on the other side as well. You don't just want to see the object. So that problem can simply be solved by deselecting the point triangle thing, making it from a light gray shade to a dark gray shade. I just realized that basically everything in Blender is either gray or orange. That is interesting. Like on this entire screen, like sure there's like blue, green, and red here for the axes, but that's really all. Anywho, we have our entire circle here, and look at that. It's beautifully mirrored. It still looks like a sphere. However, we were still complaining about the choppiness of the shading, and we're going to fix that now. We're going to select all and choose Add Modifier, and this time we're going to select the Subdivision Surface Modifier. I believe it's abbreviated as Subsurf. However, I'm just having trouble in finding it. So, I know it's underneath the mirror modifier. Subdivision surface. Wherefore art thou subdivision surface? Can I search for it by pressing the space key? Where did it go? Everything that begins with an S. Let's look. Okay. Shrink wrap. Is it actually gone? Or am I just the blindest person in the world? Holy Pop-Tarts! What happened to it? Oh, okay. Okay, apparently I was able to scroll down. It's because everything's so huge. Okay, subdivision surface. Okay. Sorry that took overwhelmingly long. We have our subdivision surface modifier menu over here on the right. So we're going to select... Okay, so I'm going to just pull this out a little. Subdivisions. Now, you're going to change the view from 1 to 3, not 4, because that would be overly laggy. And if you ever plan on rendering this, you're going to change it from 2 to 6. Yes, but don't worry, it's not going to increase lag currently. It's just the 3 subdivisions that's going to increase a little bit of lag. But it helps, because look at that. Have you seen a more perfect sphere? Well, of course you have, because we're only set to 3 subdivisions, but that's what we're going to keep it as. So, with that being said, let me think if there was anything else. Let me check these notes real quick. Let me check my notes. And, okay, so we covered the moving, filling, rotation. Yes, there's one more thing. Okay, so we're going to go into edit mode this time, actually. And it's going to be in the same edit mode as this circle here. We're not going to go and select this in object mode yet. So what we're going to do is go to create in edit mode and choose circle. Oh, we still have our mirror modifier. So we're going to undo that. And we're going to click apply on our mirror modifier here. So that way, whatever we do on this side will no longer occur. Okay, it still will occur on the other side. Will occur. That is because because it cannot be applied in edit mode. So let's apply it now. There we go. So now we have both those points selected, but now the same thing won't occur on the other side that we do on this side. Okay. So, with that being said, now that we have our mirror modifier applied and we are in edit mode, we're going to, what did I do? We're going to select a circle and click on the G key and drag it down. Let's pan over to it. Let's make sure we can see it. And as you can probably tell by right here, there are quite a few options. We're going to have to do that again. Circle. Okay, here are the options. So, yes, it is immediately as you create said circle. I was trying to find it there. It will only, right when you create it, and it has to be in edit mode, it will let you adjust the amount of vertices. So, say you have a circle here, but you don't want it to have 32 points in the circle for some reason. Maybe you want it to have 15. So, of course, that made our circle a little less beautiful, but it still is a circle in object mode because we have our subsurf on. So, what if we wanted to have 15 points along the circumference of the circle? But not only that, what if we wanted them to come together at one point in the middle? And by doing that, we would select a triangle fan on the fill type. Or maybe we want the N gone, which just fills it. I don't know what else that does. But I'm going to select nothing because I really don't want that right now. So, oops. I'm going to click undo on that. Now that we have our circle, and it's got 15 points on it, I'm going to press Shift D and copy it and bring it down. Yes, you can press Control C and Control V, but that's really only if you're transferring meshes from either a different object mode to a different object mode, or even between different files in your Blender. You're probably not able to tell a thing that I'm saying, but don't worry, that is not important in this episode. What is important is that you pressed Shift D and you have your circle moved down here as well as up here. So now you're going to press Shift Alt with this circle selected already, and select this circle. Now you have both selected, and you want to fill the circles together. Now instead of pressing F on each individual set of 4 points, you're going to press the space bar and search for Bridge Edge Loops, and select that. As you can see, we have a perfect bridge edge loops connecting the faces of each circle to each other. And as you can see, it's not very smooth, so we're going to select smooth on that. And it's not the only thing we can do. Let's go back into object mode and select our weird monstrosity of a mesh that we were working on before. Let's click Tab to go back into edit mode for this one. Click the Z key and then the B key to click and drag a box over it. Let's press the Z key again to make it non-transparent. Now we're going to press the W key and select. Well, we're not going to left click on smooth, we're going to right click on smooth. Wherever smooth is, it's right here. I'm going to change my shortcut to Q. You can make it whatever you want. You can not set any shortcut, do whatever you want. If you want to press W and select smooth every single time, that's fine with me. But basically what it does is when you press Q, it makes it smaller, but it makes the points work more with each other. So, this would be interesting. I'm going to smooth this, and I'm going to also add a subdivision surface modifier to it if I can. There we are. And let's say we can see 3 subdivisions. And okay, it basically looks like a Mike and Ike. Never mind. So we're going to go into object mode if you guys aren't already, and just undo that. And that is beautiful. That is it for today. I will come back to you in the next video with even more stunning information about Blender. This video was on sculpting, as will probably be the next 2 or 3 videos. But then I will be happy to delve into animation with you guys, and that would be really fun. So please stay tuned and have a nice day. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. And NmMindstorm out. Woohoo!